Get ready for healing. I am already getting testimonies of people's deliverance, and I'm still believing God for everybody. God has a way of making things right. So don't be dismayed. Whatever betides you, for God will take care of you. The first thing I want to deal with is fibroids. I want to show how to deal with fibroids and cysts and endometriosis that are slightly plaguing our communities, causing pain, heavy cycles, infertility, and imbalance so in many women's lives. But I want you to hear me. You are not powerless, women of God. Healing starts first with what's on your plate and what's in your cup. So before that comes, one of the first things I want you to do is foods to avoid. Processed meats. I want you to avoid dairy because they fuel estrogen dominance. And remember that those fibroids are fueled by estrogen. So I want you to avoid that. Avoid fried and fast foods. Inflammation overload comes with that. Refined sugar and white flour. They also feed fibroid growth. Avoid alcohol and caffeine. We talk about stress on the liver and hormones. Now, foods and herbs that support healing. Leafy greens will help balance hormones. Fresh berries and citrus rich in antioxidants. Seeds like flax seeds, pumpkin seeds support estrogen metabolism. And herbal allies is red raspberry leaf, nettle, burdock. Remember, burdock cleanses the blood. And also dandelion root and vitex. Fibroids don't have to control your body or your future. With diet shifts, natural herbs, and holistic care, the body has the power to repair and to restore itself. Now, what I'm talking about from a functional nutritional perspective, a clinical nutritional perspective, but also from a cellular perspective, we've got to heal from a cellular perspective, right? Now, when the clip shows, we're going to really get into how to shrink the fibroids, right? How to shrink the fibroids. We're going to get into that. What I told you now is a little bit about things that help it grow, things that also help it die. Are you there? So we're talking about lifestyle change. When we get into the clip, you want to go into things just a little further. And I'm going to do a couple of pausings because I want to make sure that we get a real good understanding of what we're talking about, all right? All right, let's roll that clip. Okay.
Statistic, up to 80% of all women develop some type of fibroid by age 40. Mind-blowing. Like, why? That is so weird. And the last thing that a woman wants is a hysterectomy with all the side effects, not to mention the fibroid. So I pulled the string and I found something fascinating I want to share with you. Let's first take some clues about fibroids. Number one, they actually decrease after menopause. That's interesting. So why would that be? Well, it's probably related to estrogen, right? We're going to get there. When a woman goes through pregnancy or is exposed to HRT or birth control pills, there can be an enlargement of the fibroid, which sounds like it's also related to estrogen.
Stop that for a
moment. Then you have the
moment.
relationship between...
You said when you talk about pregnancy and you talk about birth control, what happens to the fibroids? Go back on it though. Listen to what he just said. I want to make sure you get this. Okay, go ahead.
Sounds like it's also related to estrogen.
Now you gotta go back just a little more for me.
Obesity, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, to HRT or birth control pill, to HRT or birth control after menopause. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So why would that be? Well, it's probably related to estrogen, right? We're going to get there. When a woman goes through pregnancy or is exposed to HRT or birth control pills, there can be an enlargement of the fibroid, which sounds like it's also
could be an enlargement of the fibroid. right? When we talk about birth control. Are you there? All right. And he talks about how could that be? Because remember, we're wrapping everything around what? Estrogen. Right? We're wrapping everything around estrogen. All right, play it.
Estrogen. Then we have the relationship between obesity, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and polycystic ovarian syndrome, all increasing the risk of fibroids. Why is it that black women are 3 to 9 times more at risk for getting fibroids? And of course, the common theme with this is estrogen. Estrogen is a growth hormone. It's a primary driver of fibroids and endometriosis.
Stop for a
let's
moment.
look at what a fibroid is.
All right.
It's taking 25,000.
All right. Do you remember what you said about high blood pressure? All right, that adds to it, right? So if a person is on the cuff of high blood pressure, or they have high blood pressure, that increases the risk of fibroids and also helps enlarge fibroids if you have them. Now, a lot of people, when you go to the doctor, you're on medications for hypertension at the very same time, or you're pre-hypertensive, right? And so we've got to deal with the hypertensity of being a person that is being declared either pre-hypertensive or you have hypertension, right? We got to deal with that, along with the fact of shrinking the fibroids. I want you to make notation of that. So each time I'm going to pause, because what I want you to do is I want you to deal with what's going on inside of your body, right? So blood pressure is something that we got to pay attention to. That's one of the first things, right? If you're on birth control, if you have high blood pressure, or you are pre-hypertensive, that's something else we got to deal with. Are you there? Make sure you make the notes now. Let's go. This commercial we're going to get rid of.
It's been shown in studies to actually make you look younger.
Okay.
For the uterus is a fibroid is a growth from the uterus. And so it grows out of the uterus. Tissue in a fibroid, it's very non-elastic. There's a lot more collagen in a fibroid. That's why it's hard. But there's some very interesting differences between a fibroid and the uterus. In a fibroid, you have a much greater sensitivity for estrogen, which means that a fibroid is very sensitive to estrogen, okay? It can grow a lot faster with estrogen than the actual uterus. And a fibroid has more receptors for estrogen. There's also more of this enzyme called aromatase going on in a fibroid. Now, what's aromatase? That's an enzyme that converts androgens, which is more for men, to estrogen. The environment in this fibroid has a lot less oxygen than the uterus. That's called a hypoxia environment. We'll come back to that. And lastly, what's unique about a fibroid is that it has a lot more inflammation than the uterus.
Stop for a moment.
Here's the question. What?
Inflammation. We're going to talk about we're going to get rid of inflammation in the body. All right. The other thing is receptors for estrogen. Right? We're going to talk about foods that you eat that promote estrogen, right? So a lot of times you think you're okay, but you really are not okay because your body now, when we talk about that, fibroids have these receptors that are easy for estrogen. Remember, estrogen is feeding it and allowing it to grow larger and larger and larger and larger. All right? And then he talks about aromatase, right? Aromatase, normally we talk about that with men, but what it does with females, it converts things into estrogen. Now we're talking about your environment. We're talking about what you take into your body. We're talking about those things, right? All right, so I want to make sure that we're all together. The last thing, hypoxia. Everybody dies from hypoxia. You didn't die from that. You died from hypoxia. Oxygen issues. And so, therefore, oxygen issues. Do you know that there is also medical research that's going on, even when it comes to cancer, to be able to deal with cancer, we got to deal with oxygen. Those cancer cells, whether it's hypoxia or whether it's getting oxygen at the same time. And so with you, it's going to be the same thing. When we get into the dietary real part of it, you're going to understand a little more about what we're talking about. Okay, let's go.
All of these clues have in in common? So there's one common thread that goes throughout all these clues, and that is a low vitamin D situation. Now, regarding research in this area, which I'm going to cover in a little bit, there's mixed reviews on research with vitamin D, and I really think that has to do with the frequency and the amount of vitamin D that they give people in certain studies. The amount of vitamin D needs to be a lot greater than the usual vitamin D that's given to people, because most of the studies are operating off of this
Can you pause it just for one moment?
outdated information.
Only reason why I want to pause this is because we're melanated people.
Right.
We need a little more vitamin D than other people. You understand? And you can be in the sun for 20 minutes, just walking around, and you're getting more vitamin D than the doctor prescribed to you, just from the sun. Lord knows if you go to the beach.
Right.
So just from the sun, you're getting more vitamin D than what the doctors prescribe. So part of the problem, really the big issue, even when it comes to diabetes, I'm going to get into that later on. When it comes to what's going on is you have low vitamin D. And what they'll do is they'll give you what?
50,000.
Well, that's what you need, but what they'll give you is like 5 or 10,000. They'll give you 5,000, 8,000, 10,000, and then you'll take it, but you're still not doing anything. And then they'll give you the medication. So one of the biggest problems is your low vitamin D. And remember, those things is that fibroid is still growing because you don't have enough vitamin D. Now you're taking all this medicine that they're giving you, but the medicine is not helping, and you're really frustrated because you're low on vitamin D. I want to make sure you understand this. All right, let's roll with it.
Small amount of vitamin D, like 600 to 800 IUs, and all of that research is mainly for bone, skeletal calcium, and not the immune system, the uterus, the prostate, the skin, the brain, the muscles. This is a completely other system that needs a lot more vitamin D. Vitamin D will inhibit the growth of fibroids. Number 2, vitamin D also helps regulate other...
Did you see hear the last statement? Vitamin D will what? Prohibit the growth of fibroids. But he also said 600 to 800, you're talking about bones, right? Bone and teeth. There's other parts of the body, the immune system and all other things require a lot more vitamin D. You're not getting enough vitamin D. And y'all love to go get those little things out the store that got vitamin D and mixed in some kind of supplement, some kind of vitamin or something like that. Y'all gonna get it and you can bring it to my, I'm on this malted thing and I'm on it, I don't care. And then when I tell you that I don't care, that don't tell me that, it makes me feel like you went somewhere in med school and you come back and you're trying to tell me what you should be taking and what you should not be taking. In actuality, you don't know, right? You don't know. So since you're not trained in that area, can you stop that and just learn to receive what is necessary? Fibroids will grow when you are low in vitamin D, all right? Vitamin D will help take down those fibroids. Now, y'all taking a lot of medication, but you don't have the vitamin D. All right, let's go.
Factors as well, and since we're dealing with a fibroid, we're really dealing with something that's out of control as far as the growth. Vitamin D also is an aromatase inhibitor. It blocks that enzyme preventing excess amount of estrogen. Vitamin D increases apoptosis, which causes the fibroid cells to commit suicide, preventing the growth of a fibroid. But vitamin D also is anti-inflammatory. Anytime we have inflammation, we can have a growth of a tumor or even cancer. Well, guess what? Vitamin D is the most potent anti-inflammatory someone can take.
Pause for a second.
It's also interesting.
What did you hear? Vitamin D is the most potent what? Anti-inflammatory that you can take, right? So why are you telling me about these other things when I really want you to take more vitamin D? You're telling me about other things, and I'm telling you this. Also, he said apoptosis, meaning it will commit suicide. When you give the body what it needs, the body can repair itself. When you give the body what it needs, the body has the ability to repair itself. What you guys want to hear now is apoptosis. You want those fibroids to commit suicide.
Absolutely.
You want them to die. Remember when in the scripture where when they wanted to fight, and then the Lord said, "Get in the bush and just praise me," and then the enemy started fighting each other. They ambushed each other. They committed suicide. Y'all need to get vitamin D and get in the bush and let God let your fibroids fight its own self and commit suicide. Are y'all with me? You want to go to apoptosis. You also want the anti-inflammatory to work. Aromatase inhibitor. You also wanted to regulate the growth factors of the fibroids. You wanted to stop growing. Whether we're going to use vitamin D in a larger amount to do those things. Are you with me? All right. So I want you to have hope. I brought you here because I want to give you some hope. I brought you here because we're going to take science and mix it in with our faith. Right. Are you there? We'll mix science with our faith, and we're going to win. We're going to win. Okay, let's go.
It seemed to work in an environment where there's not enough oxygen, in a hypoxic environment. Now, the very nature of a fibroid, it's creating this low oxygen hypoxia because it's so dense with irregular collagen and things like that. So this could explain why normal amounts of vitamin D won't even come close to dealing or penetrating this fibroid and doing anything. You have to use much higher amounts. Vitamin D downgrades estrogen. There are two different receptors for estrogen. One estrogen receptor increases tumor growth. The other one, called estrogen receptor beta, decreases or shrinks the cell during the tumor.
Estrogen receptor beta. Write that down. Write that down. Because that decreases the fibroid. And you're using vitamin D. Are you getting it? One increases, one decreases. Are you there? All right. In women's ministry, in the ministry of health, we have to go through these things because I want you to have the information. I need you to be informed. Doctors are trained a certain way to handle disease. The symptomology of it. They will handle the symptoms and they will give you medications based on the training that they've had. Now, they do have about 8 hours of nutrition training, I believe, in med school, but they're not nutritionists. The difference between them and me is that I need to go to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is what I'm dealing with you right now, not the symptoms. So your doctor's going to deal with the symptoms. When you get to me, I'm going to deal with the root cause of your illness. Where is it coming from? Because that's what you need to kill. You need to kill it at the root so it don't grow. Are you with me? What y'all doing is taking a lawnmower and kind of cutting it a little bit. All right, and then the rain comes and comes right back. All right, so what we want to do is we want to take it from the root. That's the difference between seeing a me and seeing somebody regular. So what happens is you team this up. It's called integrative or interdisciplinary treatment. Are you there? Interdisciplinary treatment or integrative treatment. That's why you heard me say I was an integrative medicine practitioner or interdisciplinary. My first degree is a degree in interdisciplinary, right? Studies, which means you study various things. So I go from business to this. Are you there? All right. So I want you to understand two receptors. One grows, one kills. All right. And remember, I told you we got to do it from the cellular perspective, and we got to kill everything that's going on with you from the root. From the root. From the root. Okay, let's go.
Vitamin D supports this one that helps shrink it and inhibits the other one that is making it grow, which is very cool. And also vitamin D helps to increase this certain hormone in the liver to help lower the amount of free estrogen that's throughout the body. So if we look at this whole situation, estrogen is the primary driver, but we don't have the brake pads, and that is the vitamin D, simply because the majority of the population is deficient in vitamin D, especially black people and black women. Why? Because of the melanin in the skin blocks vitamin D. And so here we have this population which is already low in vitamin D, and then they actually have these spikes of estrogen, they're gonna get more fibroids than people that have enough.
Stop right there.
Now, let's take a look at
Did you get an understanding of what's going on with you? You have melanated skin. You don't take in vitamin D as easily.
Don't absorb it.
You don't absorb it. So you have to take higher amounts of vitamin D. What else did you learn? What's the driver of your fibroids? Estrogen. Estrogen is the driver of your fibroids. And they gave you some medicine that's supposed to be balancing it out, right? Well, because you don't have enough vitamin D, the medicine really is not working the way it really needs to work. In other words, their studies are based on Caucasian people and not black people. Do you understand me? I hate that word black, that term black people. I am not African American. I am melanated. I am a Moor. I'm a Moor, I'm melanated, I'm a Moor. So you're Indian? Everybody's an Indian. Don't let them fool you. You're an Indian. You're a Moor. All right, let's go.
obesity, for example. Obese people are always deficient in vitamin D because vitamin D gets diluted into the fat cells. So an overweight person needs a lot more vitamin D because it gets diluted and it's less effective. Now, as far as type 2 diabetes, there's always low vitamin D. High blood pressure, I think the majority of that is low vitamin D. That's really behind high blood pressure. Because if you give a person more vitamin D, their blood pressure goes down. Right? And then, of course, you have polycystic ovarian syndrome. That's a situation where we have way too much insulin. Now, this is very interesting information because
polycystic
it
what?
provides a solution to a very common condition that occurs with up to 80% of all women. But I do not think you can create a dent into this problem unless you take enough vitamin D. And I'm going to get into this, but I first want to just talk about a few studies involved and also some anecdotal case studies that I want to share with you next. So the question is there research on vitamin D shrinking fibroids? Well, it's a bit mixed, but I want to show you why it's mixed, and I'm going to show you some of the positive results right now. There was a study in 2013 in reproductive science that showed a significant decrease in the size of fibroids within 12 weeks, taking 25,000 IUs of vitamin D3 once a week. Now, if they took that every day, I think the results would be even better. Here's another study in 2014 on African American women, and these women had low vitamin D in their blood. They found a high percentage of women with fibroids have a lower vitamin D level than those that had a higher level of vitamin D in their blood. They gave them 50,000 IUs to vitamin D3 every 2 weeks. And then in 10 weeks, they saw a significant decrease in the fibroid size. And I'm even surprised that they saw those results because taking it every 2 weeks is just not going to be sufficient. You want to take it every single day. Here's another study by Cia Vantini. These are women who took vitamin D, and they found the group that took the vitamin D did not experience any fibroid growth versus the other group who didn't take vitamin D had a 40% increase in fibroid growth in vitamin D3. Doctors even discourage women from taking 10,000 or 20,000 or even 50,000 of vitamin D every day because somehow it's toxic.
Okay, if there's one AI site builder you need to meet, this is Dope Tech from Briggs.
When I said I was taking 50,000 IU, when I said that, he's my GP. He was white as a sheet. He says, that can't be. You took 50,000 IU? You know that's toxic? I said, no, it's not toxic.
That's what they all say.
Yet the research shows that you would have to take hundreds of thousands of vitamin D3 for months to create any toxicity. And really the only toxicity is excess calcium in the blood causing kidney stones. But you can even greatly minimize that side effect by taking magnesium, vitamin K2, drinking a little more water, 2.5 liters of water a day. Those are all the cofactors that will minimize that toxic effect, which personally I think that if you're taking 50,000
Can you pause that for a
less,
minute?
you're not even in that
Can you
range.
bring me the water bottle out of my office, please, that I normally drink? All right. Any thoughts so far? Any comments so far? No? Are you understanding?
Yeah.
All right. So normally if I say I want you to take more international units IUs of vitamin D, a doctor would tell you, oh, that's in the danger zone. Remember, his training is different than my training. You're not in a danger zone. And remember that the toxicity he's talking about is the buildup of calcium in the blood. But we talked about the water and then vitamin K, K2, right? Now, the water that you're drinking is also a problem. You don't get enough minerals in your water. So if you get Deer Park, like you order Deer Park water and all that stuff, that's that water that's out the sink. What is it? It's kind of like toilet water. It's the same. So you would have to drink water like a Voss, right? Like a Voss. There's about, I think I have 10 different waters that we'll be able to use, but this is what Bishop did bring. And then I'm going to also teach you how to make things alkaline. Now, when you think that you're buying something that you say is alkaline, the acids in your stomach eats up most of the stuff. And so what you think is alkaline that you bought isn't alkaline in your body. So I want to show you that too. So stop doing that too. Y'all spend a lot of money on other things that doesn't make sense. We'll go through that. So you have to drink water like this. Are you there? All right. And this is glass. You're drinking it out of glass and not out of plastic, because plastic is also causing the diseases that you have. So no more plastic bottles of water. What did I just say? No more plastic. All right, you're gonna pay a little more money, and you're gonna drink out of glass bottles of water. All right, and then I also need to show you how to take the mineral salt, because your body's not getting enough minerals. You put the mineral underneath your tongue, and then you also drink the water. So you got vitamins, and then you have minerals. You're not getting enough minerals in your body either. All right, and so we're gonna change that. I want to educate you on that too. I want to change it because I want your body to start functioning the best way that it can function. And remember, I'm going to tell you one thing. Your medical doctor is, as he's sharing, and by the way, he's a chiropractor. But in places like Texas, in other places, he could be a primary care because they're trained the same way. But he's a chiropractor, and I'm a nutritionist. You understand? But the training, remember something, again, training, but he's also had training in nutrition. He's also a nutritionist, right? So he's trained in nutrition. All right, so the thing that I want you to do, like I'm a psychotherapist, but I'm trained in nutrition, right? And then a few other things, but I want you to understand your doctor's gonna tell you one thing. That's why I want you to understand this. Because when they tell you one thing, I need you to know the truth. Okay, let's go.
Any toxicity. Now, there's a really good book that I'm going to recommend down below on using high doses of vitamin D3. And this particular author, his name is Jeff Bowles, has a website. And you can search on his website. Now, these are anecdotal. They're not based on any studies, but it's worth listening to. Here's one. I had a large fibroid tumor, and the doctors recommended surgery to remove my entire uterus. Well, guess what? After remaining on a high dosage of vitamin D3 with the proper K2, magnesium, zinc, and calcium balance, and of course changing my diet, my last MRI showed that the tumor is now in a necrosis status. What's ironic is my doctor at Emory in Atlanta dropped me because I refused to have the surgery. Let's show you another one right here. I am a 50-year-old RN and a patient medical advocate with the vitamin D levels of 30 nanograms per milliliter. I didn't know what a difference having a high vitamin D level would do for me until now. I've taken 10,000 IUs for some years and felt a slight positive difference, but when I added the K2 and did the higher dosage of 50,000 IUs per day, for 1 month, I've stabilized at 25,000 IUs and continue to feel the benefits. After 2 years, cured fibroid uterine tumors in early 2014, and I continue to experience no aches and pains. I keep my blood level at 150, which is high normal.
I said, look at me, I'm healthy as a horse. In fact, my numbers are even better than they were before.
Right.
He says, well, I don't think so. I think there's a problem here. I think we have to look at this again. I said, look, the fibroid is gone. I don't need to do a hysterectomy. I don't need to remove my womb. I don't need to do anything. You probably need to start telling your patients about this stuff.
Why don't you read about vitamin D? Actually, there's a lot out there. So
Correct.
The other thing we're facing is what they don't want us to know about. They love evidence-based medicine. medicine. And they said, well, doctor, you believe in evidence-based medicine? And I said, well, yeah, but the problem is you can't get at the evidence. It's either being censored or you put it behind a paywall. Go down some rabbit hole of science and you're looking at something and you finally get to where the meat of the matter is, boom, it's locked behind a paywall. Unless I buy $100 for every article or whatever, I can't get it.
So I really think there's enough data to seriously consider taking more vitamin D, as well as the cofactors to potentially do some positive things about shrinking fibroids. But I think with a lot of things in the news, with scares about vitamin D, it's very important to get all the details, especially with the scare of a toxic level of vitamin D. And if you haven't seen my video on the history of vitamin D, that I think exaggerates the toxicity
you
levels,
can stop it.
you should check out this video.
All right, you can take it off. All right, thoughts. Talk to me. Talk to me. You gotta have thoughts about where you are.
So basically, it's a combination of the vitamin D, K2,
Magnesium
and
and zinc.
that helps shrink or dissipate the.
And if you do it any other way, the fibroids are going to grow. Just on your medication. I want you to think about it yourself. You're on medication. So while you're on medication, they're still growing, right? But you didn't try anything else. You just did it the way traditional medicine told you to do it. And then you're always at the threat of what? Surgery, right? So it's 50,000 per day, right? But I think I want to be sure that the women in here, you at the point where you can hear that when you're told to do something, don't come back to me with, I went to the store and I saw this and I brought this and I think this worked. And you know, it'll work for a little while because you want to be cheap, because I know some cheap people in here. You're all cheap. And to be cheap is to die. You got to spend a little money on yourself. You understand? There's no time to be frugal on yourself. Trying to find a cheap brand. You got to find the right brand, which you're going to go through, have an online pharmacy where if I write a prescription to someone because of this, then they use the online pharmacy. The online pharmacy delivers it straight to your door. Because I have to make sure that you have the purest brand that you're utilizing. Are we understanding each other? All right. I want to be clear about what we're doing. Any questions again? Females, any questions before I move on? Any questions on this fibroid scenario?
So where are we seeing the vitamins?
Well, you can see Shantae. I almost called her Dr. Shantae. You can see Shantae. She can take care of that, as I said before, I use an online pharmacy.
So are you suggesting are you giving us a plan to do nutrition and the vitamins?
Yes, so you have the dietary scenario with it, and you also are going to get the vitamins that go along with it. Now, remember, I don't believe in meat. And I don't believe in meat for a purpose, because you're feeding your disease. Do you understand me? Even if you had diabetes, you still need a high amount of what? Vitamin D. If you had inflammation, what do you need? High amount of what? Vitamin D. If you tell me you're in pain, what am I going to give you? Some vitamin D. So you walking around and you're telling me all these other things. It's so irritating to me to hear people when they want to tell you what they know and you don't know. I need you to listen. So you got to change your eating, lifestyle change, and you have got to get on this plan as well. So, yes, ma'am.
Just to corroborate or be in agreement with what's been said, we sent out a patient today anti-inflammatory diet plan. So she's dealing with neuropathy, diabetes, and like the doctor said on the video we just watched, all of those things are related to inflammation in the body that Dr. James has been talking about for a very long time. So we did send a patient that meal plan today to help with her neuropathy and changing things around with the pain she's feeling in her extremities due to diabetes. So all those things are connected. So when you have diabetes, more than likely you're gonna have hypertension, cholesterol issues. All those things go hand in hand. If you have hypertension, you're definitely gonna have problems with inflammation and extremities. You know, the circulation of the blood is not where it's supposed to be. And the next thing is about the vitamin D. So as melanated people, our bodies do not, like he said, even if we're out in the sun, our bodies don't absorb any vitamins the same way as someone of another color would. So the dosage is really important when it comes to that, because your body already dumps a certain amount of vitamins anyway. So when you're intaking vitamins, and if you're not at a higher dosage, when you urinate, when you have number 2, your body is dumping certain levels of it. So the dosage has to be where it needs to be so your body can benefit from the vitamins.
All right,
What's
so
the
there,
dosage for the vitamin D?
it's 50,000 IUs. Yes.
And what's the difference between vitamin D and vitamin D3?
Well, actually what you're gonna be taking is vitamin D3. That's what you're gonna be taking. When you add the K2 to it, your body, we're talking about higher amounts of it. That's the difference. It's absorption. So what you're gonna need to do, depending on your problem, we have to do things based on what you're going through, right? So it has to be, like you can listen to somebody else's problem, yours is gonna be different than theirs. But you still got information, but there are other things you need to deal with. If I saw a person and they had diabetes, I'm gonna automatically think there's gonna be a circulatory problem because diabetes destroys blood vessels. There's a circulation issue, like you got diabetic retinopathy, that's inflammation also in the eye. Along with that, it's also destroying nerves. It's nerves are being destroyed at the same time. So there's a bunch of things going on at one time. So I wouldn't just give you a diabetic medication and that's all that you get, right? I don't diagnose you for that anyway. But if you've been diagnosed for it, or you came to me with symptoms of something, right? So within my area of what I'm going to do again is put your body in the best possible place that it is in. But once your medical doctor diagnoses you for that, then that's exactly what we're going to be in. All right, let's go to blood sugar. The next one is going to be blood sugar. Now, I can tell you I'm going to be a little different with blood sugar before we go there. Clinical nutrition and conventional medicine, 2 different things, are not mutually exclusive for treating high blood pressure or hypertension at all. Now, there's some for hypertension and there's some for diabetes. Now, when you talk about clinical nutrition, it modifies the diet to treat underlying causes of whatever disease you have. And it's gonna focus on the overall dietary patterns. And we're gonna focus more on feeding the cells. Remember, everything in your body is made up of what? Cells. So how do you deal with cells? You feed cells. What do cells feed on? Your food. What you put inside of your body. All right. And so we're gonna deal with that. Now, we're gonna basically be talking about we're gonna address the root cause and not just the symptoms. I think what happens with people that in their overall health, they think they're okay if their symptoms improve. That's not true, because you could still be dying with the symptoms have been improved by the medication. But if you go on certain medications, what's that diabetic medication? Metformin is killing you. It's like poison, right? You're dying slowly, but you're dying. The point of it is that we got to deal with the root cause of it and not so much as the symptoms. So you'll tell me, oh, I'm getting better. And in actuality, you're not getting better. You're getting worse. So we're gonna deal with the root cause. That's what I want to make sure you understand. The root cause of the problem. That's why 7830 is so important. That's why the center, the Wellness Center in Clinton is so important. It's because we want to get to the root cause of your problem and not so much as treating your symptoms. Now, I've tried this right here that she's going to be talking about. My emphasis is not on what she's talking about. I can throw that in to a treatment plan, but that's not going to be the total sum of the treatment plan. She's going to be trying to sell this at the end of the day. She's going to be trying to sell that at the end of the day. It's the information that I'm after. Are you with me? I'm not after that. I'm after the information that she's going to be talking about. Just so you know, there's a purpose for why she's doing this, because she's going to be trying to sell this. I've tried that, and I've also let other patients try that. That can manage, but I want you to go into remission, and I want you to go into reversal. In other words, I don't want you to be diagnosed with diabetes anymore. We understand each other? And everybody's body is different. Okay? Somebody can pick something else up off the shelf over there, and they can say, I don't have any more problems with my diabetes. Not you. Everybody's body is different. All right, let's roll. Information is what I'm looking for.
To this, using this supplement here. I am 48 years old. I'm a board certified.
Take it all the way back to the beginning. I'm sorry. All right.
Blood sugar issues. I need you to stop scrolling. Come near, come near, come near. I am a pre-diabetic, and I took my A1C from this to this using this supplement here. I am 48 years old. I'm a board certified holistic health practitioner.
She went from 6 to 5.
And I work with patients who have type 2 diabetes to help them bring down their blood sugars and manage their diabetes in a natural way. I want to tell you about each ingredient. So berberine, and before, wait, before y'all come from me in these comments talk about all they need to do is exercise and work out, let me tell you, I weigh 140 pounds. And even when, and I'm 5'2", and even when I was 130 pounds, I still was pre-diabetic, because diabetes is not all about carb intake. What many of you fail to realize is that diabetes is a metabolic condition, and it's related to things that occur on a biochemical level.
Pause
Carb
that.
intake is one surface level.
Pause that. Carbs turn into sugar. So you all be running around saying, oh, you have too many carbs. Right? This is what you'll be doing. Oh, you have too many carbs, but it's turning into sugar. Biomedical problem. It's also a cellular problem. Do you understand me? Your pancreas has an issue. It's not operating as it should. And there are many reasons why it isn't, right? And so you walk around and you say, I'm gonna lose weight. Because bariatric surgery, some people have bariatric surgery, and because of the diet that they were on, they don't longer have diabetes. But then what happens is, they go back to the same lifestyle, diabetes and fat comes right back. All right. In this case, you run around and you counting your carbs, and you do all those kind of things, and you still got diabetes. So this is what she's saying. So it's not about that. Yeah, you need to watch what you eat. We do need you to have something that you eat. You understand me? So if you ate something and your sugar, anytime you eat something, it's going to go up. But if it stays up beyond the hour and it doesn't come back down, then you know that's not good for you to eat. Are you with me? All right, that's anything, piece of fruit or whatever it is. But I wouldn't eat fruit without cinnamon. If you have diabetes, put cinnamon. I wouldn't eat anything sweet without cinnamon. Are you there? I just want you to understand that. And then there's certain drinks you should drink, which I'm going to give you. There's certain drinks you should just drink, period, along with water, all right, to deal with what's going on. All right, so let's hear what she has to say. Can't hear it.
Type A, cortisol levels create insulin resistance. Gut
Take me back
health
a minute,
issues create
because
insulin
she
resistance.
talked about being type A. Take me back just a little bit.
Diabetes is a metabolic condition, and it's related to things that occur on a biochemical level. Carb intake is one surface level factor, but things such as increased cortisol, for those of us that are more type A, cortisol levels create insulin resistance. Gut health issues create
Stress. Cortisol. You got other conditions going on in your body. Insulin resistance comes from all of that, right? The reason why some folks can't lose weight is because of insulin resistance. So they can't lose weight because of insulin resistance. You're not diabetic, but you can still have insulin resistance. Are you listening to me? That's part of the reason why you can't lose weight. Along with the fact that you eat when you're stressed. You eat when you feel good.
That's real.
You just eat.
Guilty.
I gotta give you something to curb that appetite. I got some stuff to do it too. We're gonna help you curb that little appetite of yours. Because you just eat. I see you. You just eat. You just eat and just eat and just eat. And I feel bad because I'm just looking at you. I feel bad. Now I do say something, like I say something to Valencia, and she got a quick comeback. You know, a quick comeback. Sir! But nevertheless, the thing of it is, you can't have a quick comeback when you're wrong. You eat, and you eat, and you eat, and you snack, and you snack, and you snack, and you buy snacks. See what I told you? Snack queen. Buy snack, and y'all buy snacks, and y'all buy snacks, and hide snacks. Right? Period. The front row is amen. The back don't want to say nothing, but it's okay. It's okay. Y'all ain't got nothing to say back there. All right. Okay. Let's kill daughter. Sound again.
Stress or autoimmune conditions, they can create insulin resistance. So don't come for me talking about carbs and workout, because I teach workouts each week. I eat extremely healthy, and many of my patients do, and they still have high A1C numbers until I turn them onto the glucagon. Berberine and Ceylon cinnamon are excellent for gut health. As you can see here, so much research on nasty, as I call it, unbalanced microbiome gut health issues for those that have diabetes or are pre-diabetic, or you just have a condition that is linked to insulin resistance, such as PCOS. Chromium picolinate. Chromium picolinate became a superstar many years ago for those goals you have in that little box you step on that gives you a number and lets you know if your health and wellness efforts are paying off. Yes, but also chromium picolinate helps to increase insulin sensitivity, which means it pulls the sugar out of your blood and puts it into the cell. Insulin resistance is when there's sugar in the blood and your body does not pull it out. That means the signal, the insulin, the hormone is the signal the cells are resistant. Insulin resistance. The bitter melon, many people have not heard of, but we use it in functional medicine to help those with gut health issues and inflammation. Also, lesser known fact is that bitter melon is a superstar when it comes to balancing metabolic issues such as insulin resistance. So the fact that they packed it, I could berberine, Ceylon cinnamon, chromium picolinate, bitter melon, and then they topped it off with turmeric. Turmeric is nature's most powerful anti-inflammatory. And yes, type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetes, anything where there's too much sugar in the blood, there is a link to some base of inflammation. So the combination, and it tastes divine, it tastes good. Let me tell you now, it's really strong. It's really strong. I'm gonna put it.
Thank you.
Hold it. I take it in.
All right, I'm gonna end with this. Medications, metformin, GLP-1 antagonists. You got various things. So this is what the doctor is going to give you in terms of conventional medicine. Within the diet or the blood sugar package or diabetes package that I'm going to give you has all of those things in it plus. It's all those things in it plus. And the reason why I added more things to it is because I wanted to make sure that we go into diabetes reversal. You understand me? Now, it is costly for these things because I added much more to what she said, to what you have, because I want you to go into reversal. Any questions on diabetes? Do we understand? All right, I'm not going to just treat the diabetes. I was going to deal with the inflammation, going to deal with the circulatory scenario. We're going to deal with a number of things. We're going to deal with your stress level, your sleep. We're going to deal with a few things. So when you come into a program like that with me, we're gonna deal with all of those factors. And again, it costs a little more, but I also do a little more. All right? It costs a little more, but I do a little more because I want to make sure that you're getting the best care. All right. When I come back, I'll deal with a couple of other areas because I know people have pain. I know people have arthritis. I know people are dealing with a few other things. So I'm trying to take them two at a time. Hopefully that works. Does that work? Because I don't want you to be on overload.
Right.
So we're going to take two diseases at a time. We're going to work on it. But I've already prepared a link in my bio. But also, if you see one of my assistants, they have everything that you need. You'll be able to order everything that you need and start the healing process with it. Now I'm going to add drinks, and I'm going to add drinks that you just drink normally. And I'm also going to change, again, your water. And then I'm going to give you drinks that I think you should just be drinking. And then I'm going to tell you to eat first and not drink. I want you to drink after you eat. Are you with me? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to explain a lot to you later on. Because a lot of us just be drinking and eating. I want you to stop that. I want you to eat first, and then I want you to drink. So there are things that I want to change about how you live your life. And I got questions that I need to ask you about sleep, understanding your sleep cycles, and making sure that you do go to sleep. I also need to understand magnesium, because I think there's a magnesium problem that I can see right now. And I'll tell you why I can see a magnesium problem, because I see a sleep issue. Sure. Are you with me? Sure. So I see a magnesium problem. And you can tell me, well, the doctor said my magnesium was good. Now, there are different kinds of magnesiums for different kinds of situations. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to tell you what type of magnesium you need to take for every situation. Are we here? Yeah. All right. Again, if you understand that, that makes a difference. So if you came into the Wellness Center, I'll be doing all these things for you. I would give you a food allergy test. I would give you the anxiety test. I would be giving you all kinds of tests because I want a full write-up about what's going on with you. And then from there, we'll start putting together a plan. But since I'm here at 7830, what I'm going to do is introduce you to the supplements that you need to take, and then allow you to make an appointment, and then we can sit down and talk about things a little further. Is that good? Yes, sir. Any other questions you have for me? Any other statements you want to make? All right, so you can take me off. Thank you so much for watching. For those of you who need help, call 240-383-4800, 240-383-4800 if you need help with any condition that you have. We're going to deal with it from a cellular perspective, and we're going to deal with it from functional and clinical nutritional perspective, and also from a perspective of behavioral medicine and energy medicine and